All right, so this video is gonna go over the tempo notation that you'll see in your workout. We're gonna use tempos to indicate the speed you should do the exercise so that we can gain the intended effect from training that we want. The first tempo I'll go over, I'll do a few exercises with it to demonstrate it as well, is going to be at 40x1. So this is a tempo I'll commonly use with push-ups to build control through the shoulders, chest, and core working together with that slow negative. That first 4 is going to be the eccentric contraction or going down. The 0 is the pause in the bottom, also known as isometric contraction before we come back up. The X is going to be coming up. In this case, the X is going to mean explosive. Explosive doesn't always mean fast. That's an important thing to remember. Explosive just means the intent to move fast. So if you're doing a push-up with an X, you're probably gonna come up pretty fast. But if you're doing a 1 rep max back squat, it may take you 6, 7, 8 seconds to get back to the top, even though you're moving as explosively as possible. So the X is very much about the intent to move explosively versus the absolute speed that you're going to come back up at. And then finally, that 1 is the contraction at the top. And so since this is a common movement or a common tempo I'll use with the push-up exercise, we'll do that push-up now and I'll talk through it as I move through the at 40x1 tempo. So in my start position, I'm gonna be nice and solid. And then to go down, it's gonna be 4 seconds. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, drive, hold 1001 in a lockout, and then 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, drive, hold 1001 in a lockout, and then it would be lowering again. So that's at 40x1 in a push-up. That tempo is going to apply the exact same in a squat. So I'll show you that now so you can see how those two movements, the squat and the push-up, are similar when it comes to the tempo. So if I set up here in my squat stance, I'm gonna go down 4 seconds, come up right away, pause 1 second at the top before I come back down for the next squat. Here we go. So it's 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, up. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, up. So that's 4 seconds down, no pause, coming back up explosively. Now this can kind of get flipped on its head because there are certain movements that don't start in the top. For instance, a pull-up is going to start in the bottom, so we're not gonna start with the 4 on the pull-up. Because we start in the bottom and we're gonna start pulling up, we have to start with the X. And so that can be a little confusing initially, but once you understand the concept behind it, it makes way more sense to apply the same tempo to different exercises versus writing the tempo differently when you do a different exercise, because it's based on the type of contraction versus the direction or anything like that. Because if you're using cables and pulleys, that can also make it a little confusing because the up movement is actually going to be pulling down. So in this case, a pull-up, if I jump up here on the bar, it's going to be at 40x1. So I'm going to start in the bottom, I'm going to pull up, hold 1 second above, lower 4 without pausing in the bottom, I'll pull right back up. So here in the bottom, I'm going to start with the X, 1001, 1001, 2, 3, 4, no pause, 1001, 1001, 2, 3, 4, no pause, and then I would pull up again. Just doing 2 reps now so the video doesn't take forever and so I don't get super tired explaining all of these different exercises. We'll do one more at 40x1 tempo, and then we'll kind of go through some different tempos to show how it changes and make sure that it all makes sense when it's not just the same tempo every time. So deadlifting is going to be the same idea as that pull-up. Because we start in the bottom, we're going to start with the X. So I'll come up, I'll pause for 1 second, then lower for 4 without pausing, I'll touch and come right back up. Here's what that looks like with the deadlift. So I'm gonna get set, up, 1001, and then down, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, boom, right back to the top. Cool. So that's at 40x1 on that deadlift. We'll take these same movements because they're going to represent basically any exercises that you're going to come across besides pulley exercises, and it should start to make quite a bit of sense how to read the tempo in the future exercises. So let's look at a different tempo where instead of no pause at the bottom, we do have a pause at the bottom, and in this case we'll make it no pause at the top. So we'll flip those. We'll do a 2-second pause in the bottom, but no pause at the top. And we'll go through the same thing. So let's do 3, 2, X, 0. Let's start with a push-up. So here my push-up, I'm gonna come down for 3, 1001, 1002, 1003, hold 1001, 1002, drive up, and then right back down with no pause. 1001, 1002, up, pause, 1001, 1002, up, no pause, and then it will be right back down without stopping at the top. So that's a 3-2x0 on the push-up. Let's look at it in the squat. Remember, the squat works the same as the push-up. So in my squat stance, down for 3, 1001, 1002, 1003, pause, 1, 2, up, no pause, pause, 1001, 1002, up, and no pause, continuing through that movement. So that's 3-2-XO on the squat. Let's look at on the pull-up bar next. So we're gonna start from the bottom hanging. I'm gonna pull up with no pause, up, 1001, 1002, 1003, hold, 1001, 1002, pull, no pause, 2, 3, 1001, 1002, and then I would pull back up with no pause at the top. We'll keep it rolling right to this deadlift. The 2 now is going to be with the bar on the ground, so we're going to reset and lift that bar from scratch every time. So 3-2-XO in essence is going to just be sets of 1 with 2 seconds only rest in between. Let's check it out. So I'm going to set up, up, no pause, 1001, 1002, 1003, reset, 2 seconds, go. No pause, 2, 3, 2 seconds. I paused at the top on that one, I messed it up, that's my bad. So it shouldn't have been a pause on that last one. Deadlift, typically, never gonna program tempo where there's no pause at the top on a deadlift. It's kind of funky to come to the top of a deadlift and come right back down. The only real time I would do no pause at the top of a deadlift is if you're a CrossFit athlete and you're doing some type of like workout of the day, WOD, whatever you call it, metabolic conditioning, where you're trying to do 21-15-9 deadlift very fast. And so that's just gonna be fast as possible anyway. And in that case, I wouldn't write a tempo. So that is at 40x1 and then at 32xo. So now let's look at one more tempo, and then the rest of the tempos you should be able to kind of piece together and understand based on these 3 examples. So this is a common one I'll use, especially for I mentioned when we want to demonstrate control. And so rather than having an X on the concentric portion of the lift, sometimes we'll have a 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, which means we want to come up smooth and controlled. So there shouldn't be a jolt in the bottom. There should be no stretch reflex. There should be nothing reboundy or elastic about our transition. So let's do at 3-0, 3-0. So no pause on either end of the movement. 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, continuous movement. We'll start with a push-up. So I'm gonna go 3 seconds down, 1001, 1002, 1003, and I'm coming up, 1001, 2, 3, down, 1, 2, 3, up, 2, 3, down, 2, 3, up, 2, 3. And so it's a smooth 3 seconds. Let's look at it in the squat. Squat stance, going down 3 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, coming up, 1, 2, 3, down, 2, 3, up, 2, 3, down, 2, 3, up, 2, 3. So it's smooth both directions. Same thing on the pull-up bar. In this case, it's gonna match because there's no pauses, so that doesn't play into it. Let's check it out. So I'm here, I'm gonna start with that 3, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1001, 2, 3, 1001, 2, 3, and repeating finally on that deadlift. Let's check them out. No pauses. 1001, 2, 3, down, 2, 3, up, 2, 3, down, 2, 3, up, 2, 3, down, 2, 3. So those are 3 tempos that should give you an idea about how to understand the tempo. If you have further questions, just reach out through True Coach and I'll explain it to you, and I'll definitely be reminding you if you're off on your tempos. If you're off by like 1/10 of a second, that's totally fine. But if it's a 4-second tempo and you're doing 2, that'll probably be the only response. We probably won't even get to the movement quality. We'll just say, hey, fix that tempo first thing, and then we'll worry about the movement quality next. So we had at 4-0 X1, at 3-2 X0, and at 3-0 3-0 on the push-up, the squat, the pull-up, and the deadlift. Cool? Happy training.